historic storm. I know we're all doing that as teams. You see it right here. Look at these piles of sand pushed to the side of the road, and people's belongings here, sandbags in the distance on these buildings. That's what we're seeing here along the coastline in the Gulf. Guys?
Yeah, Robert, you noticed the same thing I did, I'm sure. The lack of people. And people are heeding the evacuation orders. Usually this area, I'm right by one of the bridges that spans over the Tampa Bay. And it's essentially one car every 30 seconds. It's usually jam-packed.
I know. And I'm so glad that people are doing that. Of course, you know there's going to be some that decide to stay and it will not be a good outcome. I mean, we've heard the Tampa mayor say multiple times, you're going to die. Can't say any more plain than that. I hope people are leaving. And we're seeing most of the water.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's amazing. So you're going to get off that area too. I've got to get out of this region too because this is a Zone A where I'm located in Hillsborough County. Zones A and B need to be evacuated. Not exactly sure where I'm going to be either. We've got hotels a little farther inland, but I have the feeling you and I are going to be discussing our game plan coming up a little bit later on. But as for the water right now behind you, Robert, it doesn't look like a hurricane is coming at this point, right? I mean, just look at the satellite. I get it. No. It still looks pretty good.
It does. I mean, yeah, I can just show you real quick for our viewers, and Lloyd, if you can, we're going to walk up this disaster zone of asphalt and concrete ripped apart from the surge just during Helene. You see in the distance, this is a parking lot. This is a hotel that used to, it's still standing, but barely. And you see, yeah, look at the water. It looks like you just want to go out, put your feet in, and hop cold one. That's not going to happen. Nope.
Oh, no, not today. Absolutely. I'm kind of right there with you. I'm on Tampa Bay. I'm the old
Let's go for a beat.
Robert, as you can see it too. I mean, it looks fantastic right now. The clouds have come in, so it's not smoking hot. We've got roughly maybe 24 hours, a little bit less, for everybody to evacuate this car.
Yeah. No doubt. No doubt. Good luck to everybody, and get out when you can. You heard the police officer said, go. He's right.
Yeah, straight in. Absolutely. Robert, thank you very much for checking back in with you again. And we're just thinking of playing ball. We know you're going to be right out there giving us the ground. Thanks, Robert. All right, coming up, we're talking about the possibility of a record storm surge in the Tampa Bay area. You're talking about Tampa Bay right there. The record was broken a couple weeks ago with Helene, 7.2 feet. The forecast for the storm surge right here is still between 10 and 15 feet. We're going to pinpoint all that out for you coming up, and where it goes inland and eventually out of the Atlantic. Your continuing coverage of Hurricane Milton continues on Fox.
If your check engine light comes on tomorrow, the repair could easily cost thousands.
With the transmission, it's the broken axle.
But with Endurance, you can never pay out of pocket for a costly repair again.
They cover the $14,000
I have seen things with a Endurance paid it. Is that a brand new transmission? Never seen the repair bill. Use just bring your car in, and Endurance will pay them direct. All major parts are covered.
What I like about Endurance, they don't play games, there's no middleman. They're a solid company.
If I didn't have Endurance, I would have paid close to $7,000.
Something is going on. It's a great game. Make Endurance pay.
With Endurance, your car repair costs go way down, while your car's life expectancy goes way up, allowing you to drive more and pay less.
One claim alone saved me more than $4,000.
I've had 5 claims, and that is $3,500 that I've kept in my pocket.
So, who's going to pay for your next car repair? You or Endurance?
Whether you put 10,000 or 100,000 miles a year on your car, it it's less than 20 years old, Endurance has you covered with unlimited miles. Plus, your plan covers 24/7 roadside assistance anywhere in the country. Call right now to get $300 off any plan, plus a full year of our top-tier elite benefits, a $2,000 value free. And all Endurance plans come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, but you have to act now. Call 1-833-440-4919 for a free quote. That's 1-833-440-4919.
Do you have an invention idea but don't know what to do next? Go to InventHelp.com now and get free information on how to get started today. InventHelp provides invention services to help everyday inventors get started with their ideas. We have representatives nationwide who will explain the InventHelp process step by step.
Over 10,000 patents have been secured through InventHelp's patent referral service.
Our services include professional materials needed to showcase your invention and 3D animation and prototype modeling to help you demonstrate your idea. Get down to the details of your idea with a technical.
How's your Times doing?
Thousands of companies who have agreed to review your ideas.
Well,
We've been helping inventors since 1984.
all right.
Take advantage of the opportunity to get started today. Go to InventHelp.com for free information.
I'm Brian Norcross. It's hurricane
Yeah.
2 minutes on what to do with a boat.
What to do with your boat as a hurricane approaches? Leave the fucking boat and leg it.
Once a hurricane, the boat owner can put the track in the ride, let the boat ride up and down. That's prevent, but that's not always
Yeah,
going to
if
work.
it's possible.
In Hurricane Andrew. Here at Black Point Marina near Homestead, Florida, it seems like random luck. Which boat survived the rising water pushed in by Andrew? How about dry docks? Well, that's sure.
Fucking hell.
Boat can stand up to the pressure from Category 4 or 5 winds. Even a sailboat moored outside the marina was not immune. Riding inland as the surge pushed through the mangroves. Of course, we saw all this in spades when Hurricane Ian forced up to 15 feet of water up the rivers and canals and into the marina this morning around 9 o'clock. Not only the boat this morning was sinking too, it suffered severe collision in the area. In fact,
Is it 8 o'clock, the racing? Oh, there we go. That's Matt going live. Again. Yeah.
Always scary to hear something like that, no question about it. We've got a 10 to 15-foot storm surge predicted from around the Tampa Bay, right here, this area, and then coastal areas, Barrier Island, including regions around Clearwater Beach, and then down to the south. So that's where we find our Mike Seidel. He is in Missouri, Florida right now, and he's been witnessing the hectic pace of the cleanup from Helene. There's so many projectiles on the ground that were sent up from the prior hurricane before Milton comes slamming in. Mike.
No, we don't, and we don't want anything floating in the water because that's going to be left behind when the surge goes back to its Gulf on Thursday morning, early Thursday morning. Here's what they've done, and it's taken about, what is it, about 2:16 Eastern? It's taken about 2 hours to clean up this area from about the traffic light to where I am. So that's about 2 blocks worth. It's taken about an hour per block, and there are blocks and blocks. And as I mentioned earlier, there's all this streets back here, the residential areas that haven't been touched. So we've got all this debris here. Surge will go back into the homes. The stuff's going to be floating around. I'm not sure if they're going to get to this side of the street. Remember, time is running out. We've got less than 36 hours, or about 36 hours, give or take an hour, into landfall, and they can't work up to landfall. In fact, I don't know how long we'll be able to work tomorrow. Probably once it's going through any harm, especially when the squalls start coming in later in the day, they're done. But if you see these hurricane crew pylons, most of those are in excellent shape. Windows didn't get blown out. I was out on the beach. They look fine. The lower level is not a living area, and I don't know if water got into the first floor. I'm not quite sure. That's pretty high up. I hear somebody up there with a car. So there's some folks in there. The power's on. Power's been back on, but it'll probably go out once again as we get into tomorrow night. They've moved the cleanup operation about 2 blocks down the street up Gulf Boulevard. And you can see, once again, 2 big bulldozers working in cam, and it's teamwork, scraping everything up and putting it in the dump truck. They got about 3 scoops in the dump truck, and they go on their way out to the landfill. They keep going down the street, but boy, they got a long way to go. They've got many towns on the barrier islands, and all the way back here, 4 or 5 plots to the. I guess it's not, maybe it's the intercoastal, but it's a waterway with a causeway, and there's debris all the way back here, 3 or 4 blocks. So a lot to clean up, Bob. The weather today has been exceptional. Not a drop of rain. All the rain again today has been in southwest Florida, but we haven't had any rainfall for the past couple of days. So it's been really good for the cleanup operation. But it's just going to be really tough tomorrow night and Thursday when we get that surge, and then that wind will likely gust higher than it did with Helene. And then we wake up Thursday morning, and I'm envisioning again the beach back in the street and debris in many places. They got this debris out of the way, but on the side streets, there's as much or more, blocks and blocks of that. So, Bob, that's what we're looking at right now as we await the next update from the Hurricane Center at 5 p.m. And we will wait to see how quickly that shear starts to tear away at Milton tomorrow and hopefully shake at least some of the top winds off the top. We're still going to have the surge. We'll see how it goes. Sometimes these things can fall apart pretty quickly, not very quickly, but when you start to get that sharp jet stream wind in there, it tears off those thunderstorm tops and we can't breathe anymore. It can start to really unravel. That's what we can hope for at this point. We're not going to dodge this by any means.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You said that dry air being strained within the center of the core, too. That sure is tough to bust it down. We'll see if that happens. Mike said out right there with your beach. Thanks, buddy. We will talk to you again very soon. Let's bring it back to the studio. Ian Oliver, you're back in there in New York, and I'm in the area where you used to live and we used to work.
Yeah.
Talking about it right here. This is the old Tampa Bay area right now. Hillsborough County connected all the way up to Pinellas County, long 295 bridge, right, the Howard Franklin Bridge. That gets shut down. I don't think there's any kind of criteria. It's just when it becomes dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
It's the skyline right there. Sunshine Skyline is the one that goes down 40-mile-per-hour winds or more.
They all were. We were there less than 2 weeks ago for Helene. We were over on St. Pete Beach. We got on the causeway. We got back to mainland Pinellas. All 3 bridges, Howard Franklin, the Gandy, the Courtney Campbell, were all closed. So we had to get back to Tampa the long way, going up and over Tampa Bay. And with that, a bunch of the roads were closed. It took us about 3.5 hours. So that is, it's such a beautiful area, but the geography does make it difficult to move around when you get into scenarios like this, which is why it's important to use this time, use this final day to evacuate if you've been asked to safely. We do want to show you this live picture from down in Key West. They're under a tropical storm warning. You remember this camera a little bit less than 2 weeks ago. We saw those big waves splashing up over that. It was selfie and run about, it was 11, 12 days ago. Joining us now is Shannon Weiner. She's the Monroe County Emergency Management Director. Shannon, thanks for being with us here on Fox. It wasn't long ago. Thankfully, that was a bit of a grand
Right, that's enough of that shit. Yeah. Media. YouTube. Upcoming. Mizano.
Yeah, and that's the
Fair enough.
Tony?
Hello.
They're all on mute.
Yeah. Kelly's just gone for a wee.
Matt's talking in the stream, and I don't think we can hear him because he's on mute.
Yeah.
Because I can hear us.
Yeah. So can I. I'll turn that down because otherwise it's going to annoy.
Yeah. When are they on half term so I get a week off? Oh shit, I've got to update Destiny. That's 10 gig apparently. It's on the other PlayStation.
It says upcoming, doesn't say live. Stream
It's live now.
starting. What's it?
What flavour?
Really cheesy. That's all it says.
I like the flaming hot ones, but they're not very hot, are they? Let's face it.
Well, I wouldn't touch him because I can't be doing with the hot stuff.
They're not hot though. Oh look, I've reached the 10 stream streak. I bet you it doesn't yet ever occurred. Of course. What a load of crap.
Well, I've had that for ages, and every time you press it, it error.
It never occurs. It never occurs. And now I've got the chat box stuck on there. Kelly's back.
Whee!
Yeah, Lucas has got a lovely red bar again.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, what? Oh, you've replied to me. Got one through on Kelly?
Right. That should be all the background noise out of the way so it doesn't disturb Kelly while he's driving. It's staying out of trouble that's the main thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
What we got? A 20-minute and an
20 minute.
hour.
No, 20 minute, 20 minute, 20 minute.
Oh, it's just 2 20 minutes. 3 20 minutes, that's it. Oh, that's not too bad then.
I believe they put practices in again. No, because Dan was struggling with his voice, wasn't he? At the end of race 3. I'm not going to tell you the time when Daz parked it in an FBR race. Just to go for a piss. He was like, no good, I need a piss. And it was and his car rolled across the track. It was funny as hell.
And away you go.
Or put an old set on and burn them up. Is it wet? Oh yeah, I
Say
see
the
it on
race
that
will be.
stream now. No, not
No,
yet.
Matt's streaming on Twitch though, his own personal view.
And we're coming out on that stream. It's brilliant. If you like what you see here, make sure you head to SimPlay Motorsport on YouTube and leave a like and subscribe. And also, if you've got a T4 VW Transporter, check out Audio Sport. Tell you what.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport. My name is Dan Davis, and we are live back once again for another round of the GT4s, round 2 of the season, and we are here at Misano for our evening race. GT4s are back once again to start the week off, and as you can see by the conditions here in Misano, we have some wet weather. Currently, track is set to damp, but it is clearing relatively quickly at this stage. But after a dramatic first start to the season at Bathurst Mount Panorama, we move to Italy for the next round of the season. And at the minute, Will Friedman at the top of the session, setting the times at the moment. As you can see on the screen right now, you can see the balance, not balance of points. This is where the weight kicks in. Obviously, each round of the season, we will have a reverse grid race for the first race, and also we will have success ballast, with the guys taking 40 kilos all the way down to 5 kilos, in which they are starting how they're ranked in the championship. So you see Skunky High, one of the highest at the minute with the weight on board, and it's already going to be a dramatic night worth of racing. We do have obviously the reverse grid as well. Newcomers will be forced to start to the back of the pack as well. Apologies for that. It's not in it. Apologies for that, guys. I didn't mean to have that in the background. So yeah, great start for me there. But yeah, we got an interesting night's worth of racing ahead of us. Yes, I've sorted it now. So we are here at Misano for the next round of the season, and like I said, we are racing in Italy. This is FIA Grade 2, and the track is it was opened back in 1972, 52 years ago, and it's primarily known as a bike circuit. It is 2.1 miles long and 3.4 kilometers long. The current circuit has been used since 2008 to the present day, and like I said, it's primarily a bike circuit. Hopefully the echo should be gone. If someone could please tell me that the echo is gone, that'd be absolutely fabulous. But yeah, like I said, this is the current weather conditions we have at the minute, as Will Friedman starting at the top. A lot of the GT4 guys as well, when they come into this fresh session, this is the time they actually have the ballast put onto the car. So this is the very first time they'll be running it and feeling the car, and this is what they got to play with. And now the track has gone to a greasy, and the greasy conditions now kicking in. And the track now will just get quicker and quicker. Obviously the earlier pace, thank you Clavel, the earlier pace obviously set with mixed conditions, but as you can see, a lot of the drivers in the FBR crew as well are running in a black livery. As we see there, Diz is running in black. Where's Sam? There's Sam as well. Nuclear Waste, I believe, is running black. Not Rob Smith. I believe there is possibly another one, but a majority of them are running in a black livery due to we used to have a driver called Sully join the league. He is a part of the FBR crew. Sadly, his father passed away, I believe, is what I've been told. And they're all sporting the black livery. A for Sully because he ran black anyway, and think of it as like a black armband for their fellow driver. Regarding of the standings look like this. It is Matthew Duffin leading the way on 165 points ahead of Skunky ahead of Skunky in second with 146. Clouden sitting in third at 123 points. Then it's Sky Shondermeyer, who's not here tonight, who's currently in America at the minute, where there's a hurricane currently heading towards his area, so there might be a couple of drivers not here this evening. We hope that they manage to get through the hurricane with no real issues, and hopefully that's Tibbs and Skunky, Shondermeyer and anyone else in that part of the America get out of it unscathed and they are safe. So yeah, Clouden, Shondermeyer sitting in fourth in the championship with Sam in fifth. McGrone sitting in sixth place in the championship with Diz in seventh. Eighth is Darren Bell. Ninth is Shane. With KLF sitting in 10th place position with Will Friedman in 11th. It is Andy sitting in 12th place position with Nuclear Waste in 13th. Then it's DJ Phil in 14th. 15th is Susie Creams. And in 16th place position is John Andrews. In 17th is M. Collins. While in 18th place position is Robert Smith. In 19th place position is Old Sim Racer with Lucas in 20th position. Then we've got Who Darren in 21st with Tipping sitting in 22nd. Rolo in 23rd and Beasley in 24th position. Still drivers to get off the mark. And also this evening we've got Gary Leach joining us as well in his Ginetta, run a little bit wide there. So we've got Gary Leach with us as well, and a couple of new drivers as well. Pouring in the Mercedes-Benz, and also Star Dog as well. And Darren Taylor also joining us this evening. I believe that's most of the new... that's pretty much all the new drivers that are with us tonight. But it is Skunky High still leading the way with the fastest time on the board. And as the track just gets drier, it will get quicker and quicker, but it looks like rain is on its way. It is pretty much dry at this stage. So like I said, the way this works tonight, it is just 3 20-minute races. We have the start off, we have the reverse grid to start things off, and then each driver who is in the top 6 in the championship will be carrying success ballast on board their car as well. So Matthew Duffin will be carrying the maximum ballast on his car, who's returned back to pits. He's had a bit of a busy evening, but he is in the session and ready to go. Penalties this week. We've got Rolo, who's on a Quali 1 ban after retiring in GT4s, as is Who Darren. Andy as well. Grono's on a qualifying ban for GT Pro. Not that one. Richard Beasley would have been on a ban as well, but I don't know if he's racing. No, he's not. So yeah, it's just that. Clouden goes fastest at the end of that session. Who is just left on a lap time? It is Diz, currently on a lap time. Rolo has completed, so it is Diz who's going to be the last one to complete a lap. Most successful drivers around Misano is De Silva with a pole to his name and 2 race wins. Also, Arachidas was in Arachid was another successful driver, pole and 2 race wins to his name as well. Current grid at the minute: Overtaker and myself, and KLF's had a pole position here as well, as is Daz Automatic as well. So those drivers are the current ones that have the most success around this circuit. So as you can see, we're into a reverse grid order and we're about to get things underway. New drivers are set to the back of the grid or haven't turned up as well. So Gary Leach, Porin, Stardog and Dan Taylor all to the back of the pack. 24 cars here this evening. And it's Rolo on pole position with Tippings, Darren and Lucas at the front of the grid. We'll keep an eye on Will Friedman, very quick in his car. We'll see how far forward he can get with barely any weight on, well, no weight on board. And he's mid-pack as well. Excuse me. So let's get a poll going here, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as well. Hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss anything here at SimPlay Motorsport. So we've got some guys at the front of the pack looking to try and really have a good chance of scoring some points, and this is the whole point of the reverse grid, is to offer the guys who wouldn't often have a chance to win races on just pure pace. So this gives them a great opportunity to try and score some decent points and get themselves on the podium, which also shows how it offers some great racing and some great driving from the guys in the back. Really separates the man from the boys, this one. But who knows going into turn number 1 around here. And with the way the weather is, we've got rain coming in half an hour, so this one should stay relatively dry. Go Tibbs, Aaron, Andy, OSR and Susie as well in the chat from Clarball. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, there is a poll up and going for you. Who you think is going to win race number 1? Let's have a quick look at this grid here. It is Rolo who starts on pole position. By the way, I do not have the fancy setup that Matt did in the week. I don't have an extra keyboard, so I can't do the cameras like he does. But it is Rolo on pole position with Tipping with him on the front row. Darren in 3rd place with Lucas in 4th. Then it's Old Sim Racer who will start 5th with Rob Smith sitting in P6. Susie Cream in 7th with DJ Phil who didn't make the grid, drop into the pit lane. It is then going to be Nuclear Waste behind Susie's Cream with Will Friedman now up another place in P9, as will Andy in P10. KLF starting in 11th place with Shane in 12th. Darren Bell sitting in 13th with Diz in 14th place. McGrone sitting in 15th and Sam in 16th place position. Clouden in his Chevy in 17th with Skunky in 18th. Matthew Duffin in 19th, your championship leader, with Dan Taylor starting at the back with Stardog, Porin and Gary Leach bringing up the rear. And regarding the weight, this is how it looks. Obviously the new guys get the weight put on them, so they have 20 kilos put on them for being a new entry. But Matthew Duffin with 40 kilos, Skunky with 35, Clouden with 30, 20 for Sam, 15 for McGrone, Diz with 10 and 5 for Darren Bell. It is going to be an interesting one nonetheless. With the weight on board, only 20 minutes. It's a big grid as well, so it's going to be difficult for the championship contenders to get to the front. But we'll see how they maneuver. This circuit there is places to overtake, and especially in these small little cars, anything can happen. Reminder as well, while you're at it, head over into the description page on our YouTube. Head over to our Facebook page, head over to Discord, and head over to our Twitter and Instagram as well. Follow us all on our social media and get involved. Also, while you're at it, head over to Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs and printed clothing, and much, much more, including SimPlay merch. And also, while you're at it, head over to Audio Sport, manufacturers of Transporter T4 audio solutions and styling products. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk. But we're underway here. We're into the first race of 3 tonight. It is Rolo who starts on pole position. It's dry at the minute with a green track. Who is going to take the win for the first race tonight? It is Porsche and Janetta on the front row as they line 2 by 2 as they come down the main straight. As we now wait for the green.
Green light. Go, go, go.
And we are go here at Mazzano for the first time in Italy, down towards turn 1, and we've already got chaos as cars bashing into one another, going down towards turn number 1, and that is Rolo, and multiple cars just go diving into turn 1, and Rolo just caught up in all sorts of incidences, And Cloudon's been involved, as has a few others as well towards the back of the pack. Cloudon been hit, as has Skunky, as has Dan Taylor, I think, has been involved in all of that. But Matthew Duffin, I think, has got away with it unscathed. KLF has gone round as also, so KLF's been caught up in some form of incident as well. But it's I don't know actually who's leading this race now. It is the Tippings who leads the way from Lucas in that second place position. Then it is Nuclear Waste, as the times now update. Nuclear Waste up into P4. Absolute carnage indeed for the first part of this race. And Wu Darren with damage. He tried to go in between cars, and it looks like yeah, it was also Will Friedman who's been caught up in all that, as Lucas now running wide at the hairpin, and he gets back on as Nuclear Waste runs really wide as everyone tries to get themselves into order and find a place through, as Matthew Duffin already up towards 6th place position. But with that weight on board, we'll see how he gets on later on. But there's cars absolutely everywhere as we head down towards the far end of the circuit. We're growing there, looks like he's got damage to the front end of his car. Shane trying to work his way up the order as well, but a lot of cars with a lot of damage, but it is still Tipping leading the way. And up the inside there goes the Alpine of Hu Darren. He gets the job done on Nuclear Waste, with Diz right there as well, right behind his fellow FBR driver, and just behind him is a mascot still, Skunky, breathing down his neck. Gary Leach has had a good start as well, but also track limits is something to keep an eye on. Tipping setting the pace, so Hu Darren second, Nuclear Waste from Diz, from Matthew Duffin, from Lucas, from Skunky, from Leach, from Sam, and Darren Bell running in your top 10 positions as it stands. And Lucas there just losing positions, dropping further back as Nuclear Waste leads the FBR doubled, as Duffin looks to the outside of the BMW. Can he get the job done there? Diz staying to the inside. Matt's going to have to go the long way round, and he's going to have to be up the inside. He does get up the inside as the BMW tries to get a better exit and try and get the slipstream. Diz flashing the lights. But Tipping's leading away from Hu Darren, from Nuclear Waste now. What else is going up down the grid? We've got Porin, who's working from the back of the pack with Dan Taylor up towards Shane. And Cloudon's still got KLF for company with Susie's Cream. Who else? There's a lot of cars dropping to the back. Will Friedman and DJ Phil has got going. As you see there, Nuclear Waste running very wide, and that's going to allow Matthew Duffin to get right onto the rear wing. Skunky is also trying to work his way through the order. He's now looking to go side by side with Lucas, and up the inside, Lucas all over the grass. And Gary Leach is going to go with him as well, but we're watching the Nuclear Waste Duffin fight, and Diz with the BMW so strong in a straight line right on the back of Duffin once again. And Matthew Duffin looking to the inside, but can't quite get the job done on Nuclear Waste. This has allowed Tippins just to pull away a little bit more. But Matthew Duffin now under putting some pressure onto the back of Nuclear Waste. And Nuclear Waste makes the mistake, runs wide, he keeps his foot pinned and goes around, but Matthew Duffin will gain another position. Diz and Skunky though are right there, and Diz now looking to go around the outside of turn 1. He'll have the inside for turn 2 as Nuclear Waste goes up the inside of Skunky, but Skunky's already outbraked him, and Skunky right on the rear wing of Diz. What else is going on? Gary Leach following this group as well, as the rest of the group all try and work their way through. A lot of damaged cars at the minute as they all try and funnel their way through this first couple of laps, and we're only 5 minutes through. So Tipping and Hu Darren pulling away, with Duffin now starting to pull a little bit from Dad's, but Skunky's right there and going with his championship contender. What else is going? Everyone else pretty much following on as we go to Porin and Old Sim Racer, and looks like it's Cloudon up the inside in the Chevy, gets the job done. Even with the damage at the front, he's gone through, and there's all sorts of cars everywhere. KLF has also worked his way through all that as well. So a lot of positions change going on through here, as Cloudon's still trying to defend from the yellow Porsche of Old Sim Racer, and KLF's right up the rear wing of all of them as well. We go back to the front. Hu Darren is actually starting to bring the gap down to Tipping. Meanwhile, Duffin's trying to catch the top two as well. But Skunky and Diz sticking with the championship leader. Leach got a little bit of a gap over Nuclear Waste. Meanwhile, Lucas running very, very wide. Good evening to Ben in the chat. and Sam sitting in that 9th place. McGrone, as we see there, Lucas running wide as well, Darren Bell and Shane and Dan Taylor all just sitting onto the back end of this front pack. Who Darren though, bringing the gap down to Tipping, looking to try and be a little bit of a threat towards the end of this race. The Alpine meant to be the strongest car around here. Well, Skunky is sitting in 5th. Diz now currently in 4th. And just trying to be a bit of a nuisance for Duffin. Track's now gone too fast. We're starting to get a little bit more rubber. As Ben loves Mizano by the looks of things. And here is the Alpine of Who Darren now looking to attack the leader, Tipping, as they head towards the hairpin. And at the minute, they got a healthy lead at the minute, but they want to try and keep pulling away from the group behind. And Who Darren looking to the outside, but can't quite get the job done there. Meanwhile, Diz is flashing the lights at Duffin to say, right, come on, you're holding me up now. But the top two still pulling away bit by bit, and they need to work together to make sure that they do keep pulling away. Meanwhile, in the background, we see Sam, I think, just passing Lucas. Yes, it was. So Sam now up with his fellow FBR driver, and McGrone's going with him as well. So all these cars starting to make inroads through the pack. But Who Darren really starting to make a threat for himself to Tippings. And again, Diz is just right behind Duffin, but Skunky is also right behind, trying to find a way through. Just being a bit of a... both of the Ginettas, even Gary Leach, right up behind them as well. And while this is all going on, Diz is not being able to chase Matthew Duffin down. And as they're fighting, Who Darren and Tipping are extending their gap, so they're doing what they need to do at this stage. Gary Leach all over the back of Skunky. Can't find a way through at the minute. Skunky looking to find and make a move on Diz. Diz looking to try and make a move on Duffin. So Duffin at the minute, a bit of the cork in the bottle. Meanwhile, what's going on further behind? Nuclear Waste with a bit of damage, runs wide, allows Sam to get a little bit closer. Any other closer fights at the minute? Clouden and KLF pulling away from Old Sim Racer and Star Dog as well. Andy currently sat in 18th as Old Sim Racer just drops behind the other Porsche and goes up the inside of Star Dog. It gets that position back to Star Dog. Susie's Cream also through there. Already our first track limits goes to the 28 of Luke, 280 of Lucas. As Skunky looks like he's actually lost the position to Gary Leach. So Gary now really on a charge and looking to try and clear the BMW and the Mercedes of Diz and Matthew Duffin. Meanwhile, Who Darren has taken the lead. He's passed Tippings, I missed that. And now Who Darren pulling away from Tipping. So Who Darren looking very strong at this stage in his Alpine. As you all come down to the hairpin, and Gary Leach is looking very racy. He's pretty much pushing Diz. He's giving him a slight tap, and again, he's really trying to force the issue here. Further back, what else is going on? Lucas will have to pit as he's got Dan Taylor, Darren Bell, and now Clouden creeping onto the back of him. KLF is also slowly working his way back onto the group of cars in front as well, with Lucas there. And he goes for the pits, and Dan Taylor has to get out of it. And that's going to allow Darren Bell round the outside. And poor Dan Taylor minding his own business, trying to keep racing. But Lucas had to bail for the pits to do his drive-through. So Who Darren pulling away from Tipping. Duffin now starting to make inroads on Tipping, with Diz and Leach right behind. Skunky looks like he's just struggling with a little grip at the minute, with the two Aston Martins of Sam and Nuclear Waste in 7th and 8th. McGrone in 9th, not really making any inroads. Shane in the top 10. Bell and Clouden 11th and 12th. Dan Taylor currently in 13th, and KLF right behind. Probably your closest fight at the minute. And once again, Gary Leach all over the back of Diz, trying to find any way through he possibly can. He's going to try and get the undercut, but once again, that BMW is very, very strong in a straight line. Gary up the inside, and you'll just see the BMW pull away, and we are at the halfway stage. Most of you think Rolo's going to win this one with him dropping to the back of the pack. I doubt that's going to happen here. But Gary, that BMW is so strong in a straight line, just out drags the Ginetta. Into the hairpin they come. And Diz running a little bit wide there. This is a sniffing opportunity. Gary looking to the inside of the final corner. The door was open and he is sent it up the inside. Licked the stamp and posted it through into that 4th place position. Now he's good friends with Matthew Duffin. Is he going to really give him a hard time? Of course he is. He loves a good fight. We've seen a car into the pits. That's pouring. He's into the pits. Will Freeman, meanwhile, setting fastest lap out of a minute, and he's now onto the back of Susie's Cream. He's cleared Rob Smith. And in the middle of all this, we've got Darren Bell, who's been passed by Jamal Clouden. Dan Taylor is now putting some pressure onto the back of Darren Bell. And we see there Darren Bell up the back of the Mercedes. He's got Dan Taylor up behind him, with KLF looking for any opportunity to sneak by. And Diz now starting to become under pressure from Skunky, as Leach has already dropped him and looking to try and hunt down Duffin as quickly as he possibly can. And there we go, Skunky up the inside once again on Diz, but Diz's BMW so strong in a straight line, should just out-drag the Ginetta quite easily. When we see in the background Nuclear Waste is just dropping down the order. Skunky's going to keep it up the inside though. Diz runs wide, and Skunky just keeping his car right in the right place has allowed himself to get back past Diz, as Diz looks to the inside but can't quite get the job done there. Meanwhile, Sam and Nuclear Waste has been under a bit of pressure from the Mercedes driver, as McGrone has been working his way through the order. Shane in 10th, and Darren Bell running wide. That's going to allow Dan Taylor to have a sniff with KLF just behind them. Andy now putting Stardog under a little bit of pressure, looking for any way through as they come through the final few corners here. We see here Darren Bell under some pressure from Dan Taylor. Into turn 1 they go. Like I said, the Alpine quite good round here, very light and agile, easy to get around the slow speed corners. Meanwhile, Skunky really pushing the limits as Diz looks to go past, and yeah, it's Skunky I think pushing the limits there, possibly on a couple of warnings, had to bail out of that one. Tipping meanwhile is pulling away, or was pulling away from Duffin, but Duffin's brought that gap down. He's been dragging Leach with him as well, so Gary Leach trying to go with his friend, but at the minute the Mercedes driver has the control of 3rd place position, but he's looking to try and score as many points as possibly can. But Skunky has been going with him. But Who Darren at the minute still in control of this race with 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go. It's definitely been a dramatic race already, with chaos with the reverse grids. And we see there Shane has made a move on Nuclear Waste and has got past him. Meanwhile, Darren Bell has dropped further back and has lost out to KLF. Not sure why he's flashing his lights down the straight, but KLF up the inside and gets the job done on Darren Bell. Andy now trying to bring that gap down, and Will Freeman has just been slowly picking away at each car here. But back to the front, Tipping still trying to do everything he possibly can to keep Duffin behind him. And while this is all going on, this is allowing Leach once again to get a little bit closer to this scrap. Tipping will want to finish in the top 3, get his first podium this season. But Duffin now in his slipstream, looking to try and make a move. Tipping heading towards the hairpin. Is he going to defend the inside? No, he's not. Duffin's going to look up the inside of Tipping, making it relatively easy there as he tries to get the switchback and doesn't really fight Duffin, and that's just allowed Gary Leach to come flying up the inside as well. So Leach now is going to look to gain a position as he goes around the outside of Tipping and gets the job done. Now, can he do anything about Duffin? That's the question. He runs a little bit wide, but can carry the momentum with him. Against Skunky not really being able to do anything to Diz. As McGrone now in 8th place, still pestering Sam, and Sam's run wide. That's going to give the Mercedes an opportunity up the inside. Mercedes versus Aston Martin in a straight line. Who's going to come out on top? And the Mercedes with a bit of damage, not able to do anything with it. Meanwhile, KLF has dropped behind Will Friedman. KLF's dropped behind a few cars actually, as he looks like Darren Bell, Andy and Dan Taylor have all got past him. So Will Friedman now really starting to become a real threat in this mid-pack. And Gary Leach and Matthew Duffin going side by side, and Matt going around the outside of turn 2. We'll have the inside for turn 3, but Gary with no weight to him. Matt with a little bit of a tap, gets a little bit loose. And Matthew Duffin defending hard from Gary here. But Gary really puts some pressure on his friend here. Gary Leach and Matthew Duffin teammates in the past, but now right here in the GT4s they are rivals. And Gary Leach looking for any opportunity to get past. Matt carrying that weight, Gary with no weight on board. And can't find a way through, tipping there right with him as well. And this is bringing Diz and Skunky back in. Meanwhile, we go 3 abreast with Shane, Sam and McGrone. And Shane's going to probably come out on top of all of these, and up the inside he goes. And McGrone's trying to go around the outside, but Shane comes out on top of that one. Great racing there as McGrone and Sam are still going at it. They're side by side, but McGrone gets the job done. Meanwhile, Clouden in the background just watching. Meanwhile, Darren Bell has dropped behind Friedman. And looks like KLF's got a little bit more damage to the front end of his car, but Will Friedman gets the job done. But Shane, a brilliant move done by him there. Meanwhile, Gary Leach is still pestering the back of Duffin. While this all be going on, Darren has just pulled away, disappeared into the distance. He's 7 seconds down the road, while Duffin and Leach are battling. Diz is now onto the scene, onto the back of Tipping. Shane now starting to pull away from this group. While this has all been squabbling, Clouden has caught up with this squabble and has got himself back into the top 10. Nuclear Waste in 11th, Dan Taylor in 12th. Will Freeman still fastest lap to his name at 13th, and Darren Bell 14th, KLF in 15th, Andy 16th, and Old Sim Racer in 17th. Susie's Cream in 18th place position. Once again, Matt is starting to become a little bit of cork in the bottle, and Gary is right on the back of Duffin once again. And Matthew Duffin's run a bit wide there. That's going to make him vulnerable. Meanwhile, Diz is attacking, tipping B&W Grunt. And once again, Gary's to the outside, but he's going to try and get that undercut. But Gary's raced Matthew Duffin quite a lot. He knows him relatively well. And it's a 5-way fight for the second place position as Darren's well into the final few corners here. Gary's giving him the flash of the lights, taste of his own medicine, and you can see there the weight that Matt's got on board is starting to affect him. It's starting to hurt him in a straight line. Even Janetta's giving him a hard time as Gary runs wide. And once again they make contact, tipping up the inside of Gary Leach, but can't get the job done. And Gary is itching to find a way through. Darren now starts his final lap here. We've got a couple of cars in the pits, but we got this 5-way fight for second place. Meanwhile, McGrone, Sam and Shane has lost out between this two drivers, and he's right on the back of Sam once again. So not only we got a fight for second, but we got a fight for everywhere else as well. But Duffin under some immense pressure from Leach, tipping Diz and Skunky. And Gary looks to the outside of turn 4. Not really an overtaking opportunity. He's trying to put off Duffin, trying to put him offline, try and make a mistake. And he's had a great run through that sector. Gary Leach looking left and right, trying to find a way through. He goes to the outside of the hairpin. Duffin defending for his life. Diz, meanwhile, sending it on tippings. Up the inside he goes. The 53, that is DJ Field track limits, has been given to him, and Gary's now looking to the outside again to the hairpin. And Diz up the side of Gary's going to go right round the outside. A brave move indeed. And he's going to keep his foot pinned. Duffin and Leach side by side. We'll keep an eye on who Darren is at the minute. But it's Matthew versus Gary, and here comes the rain right at the end of this race, and Diz right behind him. And Skunky High on the back of Tipping. He will want to clear him. He made slight contact with him. He slides. And Gary Leach is going to hang in there. Meanwhile, into the final corner, reverse grid win. And the first win for his name here goes to Who Darren. He wins the first race here at Misano. Congratulations to him. And he built a massive gap. And Gary Leach has lost out to Duffin. And Duffin now is going to finish in second place. Gary Leach will finish in third. Diz in fourth. Tipping will finish in fifth. Sixth is Skunky High. McGrone and Sam are going at it. McGrone's going to hang in there for a P7. And a brilliant job from the Mercedes driver there. Sam will finish in 8th. 9th will go the way of Clouden. Shane into 10th. Dan Taylor got beaten by Will Freeman just at the end. Dan Taylor in 12th. Nuclear Waste 13th. Darren Bell in 14th. Andy in 15th. Kelly Davis in 16th. And he's got a 30-second time penalty. Probably pushing the limits. Then it is old sim racer Susie's Cream. Rob Smith now coming into the final corner, with Stardog finishing in that 20th position. Lucas with that drive-through earlier on is going to finish in 21st. Rolo in 22nd. DJ Phil serving his drive-through, but it's too little too late. And Pouring finish in 24th position. But Who Darren, once he got into the lead of this race, he was off and gone. Brilliant stuff from him there, as I just want to save the replay for any of the stewards needing to look at anything. And replay has been saved. But nonetheless, Who Darren, once he got into that position, he was off and away he went. Matthew Duffin in second and Gary Leach in third. This pack between Matthew all the way down to Skunky was absolutely brilliant to watch, as the last few cars now come to the line. That is Rolo finishing off. We're going to have a quick 5-minute break, as that gives me an opportunity to grab a drink, and we'll be back shortly for race 2 and the first qualifying session of the evening.
Green light. Go, go, go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport. We're about to get our 5-minute qualifying session underway. Reminder as well to these GT4 drivers, they've only got the 5 minutes to get a lap time on the board. It is quick and fast here in the GT4s, and as you can see, we've got currently greasy conditions. So this is the biggest risk of them all. We've got greasy conditions, so do you risk it going out on the slicks, or do you stick with the wets? But as you can see, in about 10 minutes time, which will be in no time, the track will dry up. So the rain is falling, the track is greasy. Do you venture out on some slick tires to get through it, or do you just try the wets just to get that one initial lap? A lot of drivers still in the pits. They need to get out as soon as they possibly can. You can see the train of cars as they all exit the pit lane. And these greasy conditions, the wet weather, this is obviously based on real weather that we've checked. And this is what the weather has come up with. So we have got these rain showers just literally lingering around Misano. And we are underway here. And as you can see, McGrone and Duffin, the first ones to get out onto track as soon as possible. KLF now coming out. But the thing is, they've either got to get temperature in the dries, or they've just got to go with it for the wets. In these conditions, in greasy especially, I'd be looking at slicks if it was me. They've got enough grip, and McGrone's gone wide, so it is going to be Duffin to be the first one to set a lap time. I think I'm about to sneeze. No, it's coming. Excuse me. The other problem Duffin might have is there's a car now leaving pit lane. That is the 420 of Susie's Cream. So Duffin might get a little bit held up going into the first qualifying lap, and it's wet, it's greasy, and it's very easy to run wide. But Duffin now on a lap, and he's going to be the first one to set the pace. There's a lot of cars in the far end of the circuit, but we'll see how these guys all get on in these very tricky conditions. If we look at this like gaggle of cars, I think that was Old Sim Racer seems to be in a relatively good spot. I believe that's either Sam or Nuclear Waste. It is Nuclear Waste. They're in a nice little group away from everyone else, and then you got this like squabble of cars with Will Friedman in the front end of it. Gary Leach is in the middle of all of that, and a few cars in the pits, obviously probably carrying on qualifying bans. But if they want to get a lap time, they have to leave the pits now, really. I don't even know what the greasy conditions are going to give them. I don't know what pace they're going to have. But Duffin, meanwhile, is going to set the pace. McGrone's just behind him, and there's quite a big gap after that. Diz is in the middle of all that. He's actually the lead car in that squabble. Cloudon's there as well. What is the next car? I think it's 22. That's KLF, but he's kind of out of sync. I think he's on his out lap. So it is going to be Duffin, the first one to set a lap time and at least get a lap time on the board. It stopped raining. So really the last car across the line is going to set the fastest lap, I think. So Duffin in now into the final corner. If they've gone for wets, it's the wrong decision. Slicks was the way to go. And Duffin's going to set the pace with a 1:46.4. What has McGrone got? 7/10 off. KLF was next to come to the line, but this is the start of his lap, I believe. It is, and he will work his way on to his lap. I'm not sure who was behind him. There's a gaggle of cars. It was DJ Phil on an out lap. But now we see the 1:59 of Nuclear Waste. He's next to come to the line. No lap time on the board, so this is the other problem. Shane's got a lap time on the board, so just getting a lap time on the board. Diz goes second. Friedman sets the pace. Cloudon goes faster now, as now we've got lap times coming in thick and fast. Gary Leach up into P4. Skunky goes P2. So the lap times are coming in, but they're just going to get faster and faster as the session goes on. Anyone else on a lap time? Not that I can see so far, as Stardog gets a lap time on the board. So the top 11 already got a lap time to their name, while the rest are still struggling to get one on the board. A few cars in the pits. Tipping has gone back to pit lane. Rolo's been in there the whole time. Hazard's who Darren and Andy and Dan Taylor as well. All of them will be starting towards the back. Towards the line now, whoever that was in the 280, that was Lucas. He didn't get a lap time on the board, so he'll be to the back of the pack. But once again, Matthew Duffin is going to be the first to the line. It is pretty much dry now, the circuit. And into the final corner he comes. He's got to find a second to take pole position away from Jamal Clouden, who's setting the pace. Here he comes now. And he gets within a tenth, loses out. McGraw now to the line. He moves up into fifth, so that's 3/10 now. As you see the 22 of KLF to put a lap time on the board. Where is he going to end up? He's going to end up ninth, so it's at least a lap time on the board. Shane coming to the line now. He'll go sixth with DJ Phil going in 11th place. We now look to a few of the other guys. Will Freeman's back in the pits. It is... who's that coming towards the line now? Any change? That is Nuclear Waste going to 11th. And Gary Leach has got Skunky breathing down his neck. Skunky and Gary to the line. Gary, does he improve? He does not. Skunky darts and goes into P2. You tap 2 in the championship right up the front there. 63's in the pit. 64. Darren Bell to the line. That's the 96 of Sam going into 10th. Darren Bell goes into 12th. Lucas is off, and that is that. That is your qualifying session done, thick and fast. And it's Jamal Clouden taking pole position in the Chevy with Skunky in second, Matthew Duffin in third. Your top 3 in the championship. Diz in fourth, Friedman in fifth, McGrone in sixth, Shane in seventh, Gary in eighth, Tipping in ninth, Sam in 10th, Stardog in 11th, KLF in 12th, Darren Bell 13th, Nuclear Waste 14th, DJ Phil 15th, and Robert Smith, your only ones to set a lap time. Well, old Sim Racer Downwards all did not manage to get a lap time on the board. As I say that, the grid has gone wrong. Not sure what's happened there. It has resulted to the reverse grid. So I'm not sure why that's resulted back to the reverse grid. So that's brilliant. Fantastic. I mean, there's not really much we can do about it now. I mean, we're just going to have to go with it.
20 seconds.
Yeah, another reverse grid race. I really don't get that.
10 seconds.
So that qualifying session was null and void. Right, okay. I'm not sure why it done that, but it has done that. We're going to have to go... There's nothing we can do. We're going to have to go with it, I'm afraid. I don't know how to reset the server. I'm still learning to do it, so... Yeah, that's clearly gone wrong. So, just as before, they're just going to have to start in the reverse grid order again. As annoying that may be, but that's the way it's going to have to work out, I'm afraid. Stardog returned back to the pits for some reason. It's now raining. So we've now got rain, and we should have heavy rain coming in later on. And I have no idea what drivers are on what tyre. So we have got a proper confused race going on here now. Okay, that's fair enough. He keeps his pole point. Fair enough. It's not the same order as the first race. Are you sure? Looks fairly similar to me. Who knows? I have no idea what's happened there, but nonetheless, we're just going to have to roll with it. It is what it is. We can't do nothing about it. Hopefully race 2 will work out better. But either way, it is what it is. But it'll be Rolo on pole position again. So we'll try this again. It will be. And I've just had a look at one driver's stream. And yeah. In 10 minutes, it's going to be heavy rain. So, and I think most of them have gone dries. I think most of them have gone onto the dries. And you can see a lot of drivers try to get temperature in their tyres. This is going to be an interesting race. Nonetheless, this is going to be probably one of SimPlay's most historic races. Rolo goes to the pits. That is pointless, because... he goes to pit lane. Well, yeah, no, actually, I'll put him on wets. So he's opted to go into pit lane. Anyone else opted to go pit lane? No. Rolo possibly pulled a masterclass there, but I don't know if it'll lock him. It might lock him, but he's waiting at the pit lane. He's waiting. So tipping on the front row with Who Darren. And we are green and go. Tipping gets underway and everyone else follows through the order. And who's on what tyre as we go into turn number 1, and they're all sliding into turn number 1 and turn number 2, even though the conditions are probably worse and they're on the wrong tyre. They managed to negotiate turn 1 and 2 a lot better. KLF's been contacted by Diz, and Diz is spun him back around again and waiting for him to get going. And KLF all over the place there, contact with a few drivers as they all worked their way through the first couple of corners. But tipping with the start, and round goes Lucas. He's not put the brakes on, and he's spun right round. I can't get to him now. He's managed to get right out of the way, but there's cars off everywhere. And Lucas there not following the rules there of just keeping his foot on the brake, unless he's just sliding all over the place. Who is that? That is... I think it's old Sim Racer as well, been caught up in that. But Rolo into the pits, changing to the wets. But Lucas having a moment. It was old Sim Racer dropping to the back, but he now leads the way. Does tipping ahead of who's that behind him? That is Rob Smith. Where's Who Darren? Who Darren's dropped down the order massively, and cars just slipping and sliding everywhere. And once again, Matthew Duffin working his way to the front of the order. Will Friedman's had a better start also this time round, as he's a little bit loose in his Porsche. And Susie Scream's going around the outside, but is not going to find any grip out there. And there goes Shane. He's way off into the gravel, as is Gary Leach. And they're all looking like they're on the wet tyres, dry tyres, and they have no grip. Tipping, meanwhile, pulling away. Tipping pulling away from Rob Smith. Susie Scream in third. Will Friedman in fourth. Who Darren in fifth. And Nuclear Waste now looking to find a way on Susie Screamer around the outside. If they've gone wet, it would be a great choice to make, as the track conditions are greasy, so the slicks will work, but they'll just get worse and worse from here. Bobby Trash and Control popped right up at the minute as well. But right now, Tipping leading the way. And Rob Smith in second. Will Freeman on the move there in third. Who Darren in fourth. Nuclear Waste in fifth. Susie Scream got Matthew Duffin hunting down his neck. And Stardog has got a stop and go to serve for speeding in the pit lane. Gary Leach has gone with Duffin. And they've all run wide in the hairpin. All just trying to find grip out there, and Duffin's already cleared Susie Scream. And again, there goes Nuclear Waste running wide. Some of them struggling to find grip, some of them trying to get grip. But Will Friedman already up into P2 now. Where's Skunky and all this? Skunky's at the back of the pack and struggling with Clouden, and these wet conditions really testing some of these drivers. As Darren Bell, meanwhile, has got Shane right behind him, and also McGrone pouring in 15th and DJ Phil in 16th. And once again, you see a lot of cars just running wide off into the tricky sections of the track and trying to find any grip out there. Meanwhile, Tipping leading the way from Friedman now, who's hunting him down pretty quickly. Rob Smith in third. Who Darren setting fastest lap there in fourth. Matthew Duff in fifth. Nuclear Waste behind him still in sixth. Gary Leach in seventh. And Susie's Cream in eighth, dropping down. Diz ninth. KLF in 10th. Sam to 11th. And Darren Bell now in 12th position. Shane 13th. McGrone and in 14th with another Mercedes driver pouring in that 15th place position. DJ Phil into the pits, Clouden into the pits, a few of them coming into pits for the wets. It is now turned to damp, and it's going to get heavier. The rain's going to get heavier. In 10 minutes time, the rain is going to get a lot heavier, so these guys are just going to get wetter and wetter. If they're on the wets, it is the right choice. If they're on the slicks, they're going to start to struggle. A Nuclear Waste now under some pressure from Gary Leach, who's right behind him. And Gary Leach up the inside of Nuclear Waste, and Nuclear Waste just runs wide onto the curb. He goes, and his position has been lost. Meanwhile, Tipping still leading from Will Friedman. Yeah, I'm not sure what's gone on there. Old Sim Racer, I'm not sure. The G Portal mod has gone wrong or something, but it's gone a little bit tits up. As Friedman now leads this race ahead of Tipping, who Darren now still in that third, trying to hunt them down with Rob Smith in that fourth place position. Duffin hunting him down. Leach up into sixth ahead of Nuclear Waste, who nearly loses the rear with Susie's Cream in eighth and Diz in 10th. KLF's hit the wall, clearly on the slick tyre, and he's gone round. He's going to drop down the order. Sam goes through, as does Shane McGrone, pouring, and the rest as well. Skunky has gone through, and KLF drops down the order. Dan Taylor further back. But Friedman leading the way now and pulling away. And there's Rob Smith, who's trying to get out of the middle of the circuit. He's facing the wrong way. And track is now particularly wet. And in 10 minutes time, it's meant to be thinning out. So we're expecting this rain right to the very end now. It is not meant to get... It's meant to ease off and not dry. It is all about survival now. Meanwhile, Diz and Susie's Cream going at it. Diz down the inside. Susie's Cream runs a little bit wide, and the BMW driver goes up the inside and tries to get the job done. The Ginetta staying strong on the outside, has the grip and continues on through. What else is going on? We'll keep an eye on Rolo, who's was on. I think he went to the wets. He's nowhere near the pack at the minute, but he's too far behind really for that really to make any effect. Meanwhile, Who Darren is on the back of Tipping. So can Who Darren find a way through on Tipping? Looking for any opportunity through. He's looking left, he's looking right, but he can't find a way through at this stage. Who Darren still looking to find a way through on Tipping. Meanwhile, Gary Leach is trying to go with Duffin at the minute, but can't seem to do so at the minute. Sam and Diz getting past Susie's Cream, or Diz repassing Susie's Cream. He's going a little bit deep. Sam's gone in with him. Whoever's on the wet tyre now will start to benefit from these conditions if they started on the wets. The slicks may still be working, but they'll start to have a little bit of a twitch. Some of the championship contenders might be relatively happy because they've got the weight to keep the car down and stop them from sliding. Meanwhile, Susie's Cream has got this massive cube. Sorry, Diz has got this massive cube behind him. So the BMW driver just struggling, and there's a Mercedes nearly dropping it. That's pouring, nearly dropping the rear there. What has happened to Matthew Duffin? Did have Gary Leach behind him. Where is Leach? I think Gary's been disconnected. He seems to have he tends to have internet problems. I think he's been disconnected. Meanwhile, Friedman pulling away in front, tipping in second. Hugh Darren's not been able to get past him and is still stuck behind the Ginetta. Duffin in fourth. Nuclear Waste is now in fifth. Diz in sixth. Susie's Cream in seventh. Eighth is Sam, who's now getting past McGroat, who's got Skunky right behind him, and both of them run wide and pouring just behind them. And yes, Gary Leach did get disconnected and he's back into the session. KLF back up to 13th after his little spin earlier on. He's run wide with Rob Smith in 14th, Andy in 15th, Darren Bell in 16th, and Rolo in 17th place position. And Hugh Darren's gone off big time. He's off into the wall. And has probably got big damage to his car now. Hugh Darren in the wall, trying to find reverse gear and get going again. Meanwhile, Will Friedman set fastest lap of the race. He must have the wet tyres on, because he's just pulling away at the minute. He spent a lot of time racing on ACC, so he probably has a better idea of what these weathers are going to predict in each race, but he's managed to nail this one. The rain is meant to lighten off in 10 minutes time, but Will Freeman pulling away from Tipping. Duffin in third. Tipping having a very good race too. He's still hanging in there once again.
We're halfway through. Keep pushing.
We are now halfway through this race, and it's just been absolute chaos in these conditions. Drivers having to be patient on the throttle. Nuclear Waste just dropped off of Duffin, and Diz in fifth. Susie's Cream in sixth. Sam is under pressure from Skunky, who's going round the outside and gets the job done. So he's got enough grip in that car. Who Darren has managed to get going. He's in 11th place at the minute. Darren Taylor in 12th. The KLF in 13th. Rob Smith in 14th. Andy back in those positions as Gary Leach has got going. Rolo at the minute in 17th. 16th is Darren, and that's the gap. It's a whole sector still that Rolo has to gain. The first of the wet runners, we could just guess, but meanwhile Skunky is looking very quick at the minute and is looking to make a move on Susie's Cream. Looking left, looking right. There's puddles forming now, and Susie's Cream's gone wide. Skunky goes through, and losing the rear ever so slightly does Skunky, but he keeps it together. As they now go through the first sector. Skunky, Sam, McGrone, Susie's Cream pouring, and Who Darren all close together at the minute. And Skunky's now cleared Sam and is now pulling away from the squabble. I think Skunky's on the wets. Yeah, I think Skunky is on the west. He's looking pretty quick as Darren Taylor has gone round. That's allowed KLF through, Andy through as well, and a few others. But Friedman, meanwhile, is just rocketing away out in front. And Tipping just behind as well. As Duffin's now starting to slowly catch Tipping. Skunky's next target is Diz and Nuclear Waste. We're still 7.5 minutes to go in this race. Anything can still happen, especially in these conditions. And Diz now under some immense pressure from the Ginetta driver. Into the final sector we go. And Diz still trying to defend from Skunky, but Skunky is literally all over him. Skunky looking to the outside now. He's got the straight line advantage, has Diz, and just pulls back in front. You can see there Skunky looking for any opportunity to get past the BMW driver. Looking up the inside into the first sector. And I think he's got the job done. Just the confidence in that car. He goes through and makes another position. And Skunky now on his way to try and catch Nuclear Waste, his next target. Meanwhile, Tipping is starting to come some pressure under Duffin. But Duffin's got his own problems with Gary Leach coming back to the session and probably got the wet tyres on. So Gary's going to try and steal a fastest lap by the looks of things. And he's giving Duffin a flash of the lights to tell him to, come on, man, you're slow now, get out of my way. He's going to possibly try and unlap himself. Meanwhile, Skunky is slowly creeping onto the back of Nuclear Waste. Possibly got those wets up to temperature and trying to hunt him down. Meanwhile, Pouring is on the back of Sam. Is literally just a survival as Susie's Cream has had a moment. He's gone round and he's going into the wall. Susie's Cream, major damage there, and that puts KLF up another position. He's up into a 10th place. Who Darren in 9th. Pouring still in that 8th and looking to make a move on Sam. And Sam defending the inside. And Pouring looking left, looking right. And can't find a way through at this minute. Meanwhile, Gary Leach has got past Matthew Duffin. That's clearly wet tyres for the Ginetta there. Much more confidence on the brakes. Meanwhile, Andy's still onto the back of KLF. And Skunky has been trying to catch Nuclear Waste, but has actually lost time. He's dropped further back behind and has got caught up by Diz once again. It just takes one little mistake, one little error. There's still 4.5 minutes of concentration as they go through the final few laps here. Meanwhile, Will Friedman out in front, pulling away at the minute. Comfortable lead in front. Ahead of Tipping, who's still holding it out in that 2nd place position. With Matthew Duffin sitting in 3rd. Possibly happy just to score the points as his championship rivals have been slowly working their way through the order. Nuclear Waste, though, is now started to become under some pressure from Skunky. Skunky now started to see the Asimon lose a little bit on the straight line. And again, Pouring looking to make a move. Andy looks like he's got past KLF. So Andy gaining a position on KLF, heading into the fast section of the track. And two Ginettas going at it at the minute. Andy and KLF having a good little scrap, similar damage to the front end of those cars. Meanwhile, Matthew Duffin is now right on the back of Tipping. He's going to look up the inside. Tipping stays to the outside, Matt to the inside. He's going to send it up the inside and get the job done. Up into 2nd place goes Matthew Duffin. Will Friedman, meanwhile, 13.3 down the road. Skunky has now done Nuclear Waste as well, so Skunky makes a position. There's quite a bit of a gap to make up to Tipping, though. Skunky just losing some points here. Meanwhile, Sam and Pouring pushing hard. Pouring still can't find a way through. Meanwhile, Andy and KLF have kind of neutralised their fight a little bit. Rolo has started to catch a Shane. So Rolo's now coming onto the back of them, but I think a few of these are pitted. Darren Bell was the first of the slicks, I think. And Rolo's actually gone off as well. So if anything, I think that Clouden is now the first of the wet runners. Darren Bell's in... Yeah, the wet runners aren't really going to catch him anytime soon. As Tipping looking like he's actually starting to come back a little bit at Duffin. So he's starting to creep again onto the back of him. Friedman, meanwhile, out in front, here, comfortable as you like, and away. Skunky pulling away from the two FBR boys, Diz and Sam, still fighting it out for 6th and 7th. They look like they've actually, Nuclear Waste and Diz is actually, Sam's in that 7th place position, so in FBR 5, 6 and 7. They need to having their own little scrap at the minute. At the minute, Skunky not gaining much on Duffin here. If anything, he's going to lose a bit more points once again. Meanwhile, Diz looking for an opportunity up the inside, can't find a way through. Nuclear Waste just hanging in there a little bit, just seems to have the edge. They've learned a little bit with these conditions. They're starting to understand what's underneath them. As Pouring once again looking to try and make a move on Sam, but he can't find a way through at the minute. And tipping now right onto the back of Duffin. Will Friedman into the final few corners. Don't feel like he's going to ease off. I think he's going to end up keep going and pushing, which I believe he will. It's a 16-second gap. Actually, Will Friedman doesn't want this to carry on, so he's backed right off. And Will Friedman coming to the line now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He wins the race. Taking fastest lap with it. Duffin's run wide right at the end there, but Matthew Duffin is going to take a 2nd place position with Tipping in 3rd. Skunky is going to end up finishing 4th. And a good recovery from him towards the back of the pack. The Nuclear Waste will finish in 5th. With Diz in 6th, Sam will finish in 7th place position, just ahead of Pouring, who Darren is going to end up finishing in 9th. Andy will finish in that 10th place position, with KLF bringing up in 11th place. McGrone finishing in 12th. Rob Smith in 13th. Dan Taylor in that 14th place position. 15th was Darren Bell. Susie Cream will finish in 16th. Clouden in 17th. And Shane in 18th. Actually, Gary Leach managed to nick fastest lap of the race right at the end there. So Gary does get an extra point to his name. Old Sim Racer will finish 22nd. Star Dog in 23rd. Lucas in 24th. Rolo 19th. DJ Phil 20th. And that is your order. But Will Friedman taking the win there, rolling to the line to make sure he didn't have to do another lap, but he gets the job done, and a win for him. Matthew Duffin in 2nd and Tipping in 3rd. That's your top 3. And once again, I will get the replay. No, I didn't want to save the highlights. I wanted to save the replay, and it's not going to let me save the replay now. Lovely job. But nonetheless, that was definitely a dramatic race. All sorts of chaos happened there. We're not sure why the game decided not to do the qualifying. It should override it, but it didn't. But either way, we'll be back in a few moments' time, back for the next race. And hopefully the qualifying will work this time. The qualifying session should have ran, Will Freeman. It should have ran, but it didn't for some bizarre reason. But we'll be back in a few moments' time.
I can.
Daniel.
Matthew.
I think I know why, or might have an inkling as to why the grid order stayed as it was.
Why?
You know, because we run both race 1 and race 2 on the Saturday.
Yeah.
And race 3 is then on the Sunday. I think because them races are on the same day, it's not overridden it. That's a guess I've got.
That's the only thing I can think of. Unless because, did you change the free practice?
The free practice was set, then the quali was set.
No, but you were saying about the 2 free practices.
Yeah.
Did you change them as literally when you disappeared? Like when you disappeared, so you basically it wasn't even. So basically, it wasn't even preset.
No, Mike hadn't changed it.
Right. So there could be like as well that change that might have caused maybe an issue.
Yeah. So we'll see that. But the other thing to possibly think is maybe do race 2 and 3 on the Sunday that qualify, if that is the problem. Yes, babe.
We'll have to see what happened, but it didn't override it.
No, so we'll see if it overrides this one. If it overrides this one, race 3 and quali 2 is on the Sunday, not the Saturday. So if this one gets overridden, I'm wondering if it's to do with the
Is there
days.
anything to do with a Friday? Is there not a Friday option? Or is it just Saturday,
There is the
Sunday?
Friday option. No, there is the Friday option, but that doesn't work then for night race because we're having to do the Friday for the night race, aren't we? It may be the case that we run race 2 and 3, the main free practice.
We'll just have to run for the night.
We can do it normal, but the night race we may have to run race 2 and 3 on the Saturday.
I don't know.
Okay, thank you, baby. And a big pack of what? Thank you, baby. Right, I'm going to get back in there. I just thought I'd let you know that's what I think.
All right.
Right.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, back to SimPlay Motorsport as we get things back on the way. Fingers crossed. Now, this is fingers crossed. Hopefully, the qualifying session will work this time round. Obviously, I will have to stress to not just obviously the fans and people watching, but also the drivers as well. This is the first time we've ran three races in one night. Obviously, we are still trial and error. We think that possibly running 2 sessions on one day may have overridden the reverse grid, but we are going to obviously figure out what happened, went wrong, and make sure it is sorted for the next round of the season, which will be at Kyalami, and again with another night race ahead of us. It may be a little bit more complicated than we think, but we'll figure out as we're all learning through it. So fingers crossed, hopefully this qualifying will work. Will Friedman in the chat there saying, also to mention that I was on the dry tyres for race 2 and it felt surprisingly comfortable with that. So the Porsche looking quite good with the dry tyres, even with the damp conditions. It was still relatively quick. I'm just pulling away by the looks of things. So it seemed to work in the damp conditions sometimes, did the dries, and obviously the GT4 is not carrying as much downforce, a little bit higher off the ground than the GT3s as well, so more adaptable to those conditions. We are now into qualifying 2. And as I said, I'm fingers crossed here and hoping that this grid order will stay the same this time round. We will get onto it and find out exactly what went wrong and what we need to do to the server next time round. And we will have a backup server just in case things go wrong, and we will get it organized. But the guys are now currently on track, and if they're not on track now, they are not going to get a lap time on the board like Lucas and Susie's Cream. They need to get out as soon as possible. This session is staying dry, so we should see flat out lap times. Hopefully it will stay dry for the race as well, as there are all kinds of chaos in that session. And as we head into this qualifying session, Matthew Duffin once again at the front of the pack, with his championship rival Skunky right behind him, and Skunky proving he is quite a quick driver, not just in the GT4s but in the GT3s as well. Look quite competitive in them also in the pro category, so we'll see how he gets on in 2 days time when we head to the pro championship. Tomorrow night, though, is the Pro-Ams. They'll be back on circuit here at Misano. Hopefully the weather will hang off for the race, but we shall see. And can Robert Smith carry on his success? 2 wins last time out at Bathurst. Can he continue that form? He will have a reverse grid race 1. Obviously, the GT3s do follow similar to the GT4s. Their first race will be reverse grid. There is no ballast for them. They're carrying the bop. But it's going to be Matthew Duffin now coming to the line, but Skunky has been giving him some pressure meanwhile behind him. But Matthew Duffin into the final corner he goes. Towards the line he comes. Is he going to be setting the pace? 43.9. What does Skunky do? He did not get a lap time on the board, and he goes into a P2. And who's next to come to the line? Diz is in the middle of all these lap times as DJ Phil crosses the line. Tipping now goes into 3rd, and then McGrone goes up to 2nd, so he's found some pace in the dry conditions. Rob Smith, Diz, now times are coming in quick. Old Sim Racer there as well. And Borin now up into 2nd place, all relatively close between the Mercedes drivers. Sam crossing into that 7th place position as Clouden in the middle of all those cars. Meanwhile, KLF coming to the line. He goes into 10th place position as lap times are coming in thick and fast. You only got one chance, and Skunky did not put a lap time on the board. Lucas crosses the line, but no time to put. Dan Taylor coming to the line. And what is he able to do? He goes into 8th place position. Gary Leach now coming to the line, and he goes into second place as Will Friedman, by the way, setting the pace. He goes fastest at the top of the session, 8/10 faster than Gary Leach, so looking relatively quick. These guys are now on their last laps. Who is that in the final sector? That is Rolo coming to the line. What lap time is this going to be? He only goes into 17th place for now. It is Matthew Duffin now into the final few corners here. He's got Andy behind him, I believe. And Skunky's not put a lap time on the board. So Skunky making a mistake and dropping down the order. Matthew Duffin to the line. He improves, but not by much. Andy now, does he improve? Ever so slightly as lap times coming in thick and fast. McGrone has got Tippin just in front of him. Now Tippin and McGrone coming to the line. McGrone improves and goes to second, and Tipping is in 7th place position as now cars starting to complete their lap times. There's a whole gaggle of cars. Meanwhile, Pouring goes into 5th. Who else is coming to the line? There's a whole gaggle of cars at the minute, and I believe leading that is one of the, I think it's Nuclear Waste. As all the cars are improving, KLF goes 10th. Who Darren goes up into 3rd as we look to possibly Gary Leach is another one on a lap time. Will Friedman just behind them, and there is a Alpine just in front. That is Dan Taylor. Does he improve? He does. He goes 9th. Gary Leach goes 2nd and gets within 2/10 of Will Friedman. So a brilliant lap time there from Gary Leach, but Will Friedman taking pole position here. Now, fingers crossed, I am hoping that this will work this time round. It should do. But Will Friedman on pole position for the last sprint race of the night. 20-minute race here at Misano to round things off for the GT4s. We have got beautiful sunshine, and it's done the reverse grid once again. So Will Friedman will get that point still for pole position. I'm not sure exactly what has gone wrong here. It's gone wrong again. And, we'll have to have a good look. I apologise to all the drivers and the fans watching. We aren't sure what's been going on. We will figure it out. We will find a reason behind it. It should have been overridden. The settings were told. I've been told that the settings are correct. So we will put a ticket in and find out exactly what has gone wrong in this case. We did have to make a few adjustments just before the server went live to get these free practice in so that the drivers and myself can have a little bit of a break between each race. But again, it's gone wrong. We will figure this out. There's nothing more I could do but apologize to all of them. And we will try our very best to figure out why this has gone wrong. So please, drivers, we will. This does actually. No, it's not random. Is it random? I don't know. Where is Gary Leach? Because he's at the back still. So it should be the same order as it was. So again, all I can do is just apologise to the drivers. Like I said, we will figure this out and why it is doing it. But yeah. A few guys returning to the pits, tipping for one of them and Susie's Cream. So it's going to be an interesting start to this race. Yes, there is a point. We're still racing. We still get points in this. So just please, guys, be patient. We know it's gone wrong. Either we completely restart the server and you do all that over again, or we just get on and race. It gives the guys leading the championship more hard work to do, basically. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, for the GT4s though, next time round we will be heading to Misano for the next round of the season. And as you can see on your screen, and now we've got the calendar. Round 1 been done already at Bathurst, and round 2 about to be completed here at Misano. Round 3 is at Kyalami for our night race, and that should be rather interesting and how we're going to deal with that. But we will find out and a reason behind it for sure. Laguna Seca, round 4 of the season. Round 5 is Monza. Round 6 is Snet. Round 7 is Barcelona. Round 8 is Valencia. Round 9 is Suzuka. 10th is Kota. 11 is Alton Park, and we finish things off at Donington Park. That is that. And if you do want to be a part of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport, then head over to our Discord and SimGrid and get yourself signed up and in the Discord so you can get your hot stints done, and we'll get you into the correct categories for Pro and Pro-Am. If you just want to race the GT4s, then obviously you still will have to do the hot stints. So like I said, if you do ever want to take a part in any part of SimPlay Motorsport's events, we can put you into the correct category. Also, as well, just a quick look, the final round of the Endurance Championship will be coming up later on this season. We'll make a final return to Bathurst for the final endurance race, 6-hour race, as we head to the mountain for the final endurance race. This was a test season for the Endurance Championship. We will be doing possibly a longer one next season that's more relevant and more up to date. So keep an eye on that. But it's Bathurst and the 16th of November. So keep an eye on that one as well. And one final thing as well, as we're just about to get things underway here at Mazzano for the final time. If you are in a Discord and you are a driver, then we do have our Patreon support as well. SimPlay drivers pay £3. We reserve a preferred number and priority on access to sign-ups and events, track suggestions in the future, promos, and so on and so forth, and your social media links as well. But for the final time this evening, the drivers get lined up once again in reverse grid order. I cannot stress how much I am apologising for this, but we're about to get underway here at Mazzano for the final time. And we are green and go here for the final time. Mazzano's Rolo and Hugh Darren towards the first corner, and Lucas going around the outside as cars try and manoeuvre their way through the first couple of corners. We're in the dry. It should be relatively cleaner in the dry conditions, and they've all managed to negotiate the first couple of corners. But it's Lucas who leads the way into the first couple of corners, as Rolo's gone very wide. He's pretty much gone straight on at turn 4, trying to get himself back on track without causing any issues. And it sounds like a couple of cars have gone off. There is a car off. I'm not sure who it is, but someone's dropping to the back of the pack. But meanwhile, Lucas and Hugh Darren going up towards the hairpin. And Hugh Darren looking to try and find a way through, as Old Sim Racer is with him as well, and he's looking like he's going to benefit from this one. It was Nuclear Waste who went round as well, as some of the cars now exiting pit lane, as Will Friedman has already cleared Rolo and KLF. Into the hairpin again. McGrone's gone wide, very wide, and in the middle of that is Duffin, and there's loads of cars coming together. Rolo, and there goes Rolo. There's loads of cars off. What on earth is going on here? What on earth has just happened? Multiple cars with multiple damage off in the far end of the circuit. And I can't stress more now that we, as an advocate, we need to sort this issue out, because we can't keep having races like this. But it is Hugh Darren leading the way at the minute, with Lucas in second, Old Sim Racer in third, Will Friedman in fourth, KLF in fifth, Duffin in sixth, Gary Leach up into seventh, Darren Bell 8th, Sam in 9th, DJ Phil in 10th, Rob Smith in 11th, Dan Taylor in 12th, Nuclear Waste in 13th, Andy in 14th, Shane in 15th, Skunky returning back to pits, Clouden returning to the pits, Diz up into 16th place position now, with McGrone now going through into 19th, Rolo's coming into the pits, tipping, and all these guys starting from pit lane has now got themselves out on track. But right now, Will Friedman looking to hunt down the top 3. As KLF and Matthew Duffin also going at it. And Gary Leach right behind these two as well. KLF gone wide. Who's that? Also got off that. Is Sam gone way off into the background. And KLF dropping behind those guys. And as you can see there, Lucas has lost out to Will Friedman and possibly going to lose out to Old Sim Racer as well. And down towards the back straight they go. and Old Sim Racer right on the back of Lucas. And can't find a way through at the minute. Duffin and Leach going to carry on their fight. KLF's going to be right behind them. And Darren Bell is trying to go with them. And Leach up the inside of Duffin. And Duffin's going to hold it strong on the inside as well. So close racing between these two. And KLF right behind. And Gary Leach going to send it up into the final corner. Think better of it. Got very close to the back of Gary Leach, and KLF's right in the middle of this as well. Darren Bell right behind him, but Gary Leach going to send it up the inside into turn number 1. Meanwhile, Old Sim Racer still trying to find a way past on Lucas, but Gary Leach up the inside into turn number 1, into turn 2. Duffin's going to hold the inside, but Leach around the outside and gets the job done on Duffin as well. So good move there by Gary Leach. And up a position he goes. Darren Bell behind. Meanwhile, Duffin looks to the inside, but thinks better of it. Probably compromised his line more than anything, because you've got to be a lot more awake in the morning to outsmart Gary Leach like that. And Gary Leach had a tap from Duffin. And now KLF's looking to the outside. Meanwhile, Lucas is still ahead of Old Sim Racer, and Will Friedman is hunting down Hugh Darren pretty quickly. What else is going on at the minute? There's a couple of fights going on in the back end of the circuit. As we see here, Diz on the back of DJ Phil. That should be a relatively easy move up the inside, and he does get the job done. Meanwhile, Gary Leach and Duffin are going at it, and KLF's now getting involved as well, with Darren Bell right behind them. Darren Bell looking to make a move on KLF in the Mercedes-Benz, and can't find a way through at the minute. But Gary Leach, the one who came out in front of all of that. And Matthew Duffin just looking like he's struggling a little bit in actually these drier conditions. Not quite got the pace as the cars in front. But Hugh Darren, meanwhile, still leading the way. But Will Friedman is hunting him down relatively quickly. He has got an extra point to his name for taking pole position in that last session. And still, Old Sim Racer can't find a way through on Lucas. Gary Leach now looks to hunt them down, as Darren Bell and KLF are going at it. KLF stays to the middle of the circuit, and Duffin just holding them up a little bit. And Sam kind of in no man's land. Rob Smith now onto the back of Dan Taylor. No real fights going on elsewhere at this minute. There is Porin and Susie's Cream at the minute. That's a little bit of a fight. But Duffin at the minute just seems to be holding up these two. Matthew Duffin running wide. KLF gone with him. Darren Bell nearly dropping the rear, as Hugh Darren still leading, but is being hunted down by the Porsche driver really quickly at the minute. Will Friedman now slowly but surely catching Hugh Darren. Lucas, though, still in that third place position. He has got Old Sim Racer. Here comes Gary Leach, though, up the inside of Old Sim Racer. Porsche versus Ginetta, and I think the Porsche should be better in straight line, but Old Sim Racer is not fighting and is allowing Gary Leach through. So Gary is a bit on a move at the minute, on a charge, and looking to try and work his way up the order. Lucas has had a little bit of a moment, and Gary looks to the outside. And Lucas runs wide, and that's allowed Gary up the inside to get the job done. Meanwhile, gap to the front, still 1.3 as they come to the line now. Hugh Darren crosses the line. 1.3 was the gap. It is now 1.4, so Hugh Darren's actually pulled away as Gary Leach has cleared these cars. Matthew Duffin now onto the back of Old Sim Racer, who just jumps straight out of his way and allows him through. And Lucas now ahead of Duffin. What else is going on here? As we've got Dan Taylor and Nuclear Waste going at it, and it looks like Andy's got up the inside of Nuclear Waste as well, so a good little squabble going on here. And Robert Smith just in front of these guys as well, so a four-way fight here. Shane and Diz are having a little scrap. Diz has had damage. Cloudon's in the middle of this, who's a lap down, but still scoring points. That's the important thing. But Will Freeman still slowly creeping on the back of the Alpine. And KLF now trying to clear these two cars. As you can see there, Lucas has run wide. very wide, and Darren Bell has gone on the inside of on the outside of KLF now. KLF's looking to make a move on old Sim Racer. He gets right on the back of him, gives him a love tap, and around he goes. And Darren Bell contact, KLF contact. And Darren Bell gets away with that scot-free and pulls away. Into the switch seam goes KLF now as he's right behind old Sim Racer. Lucas looking up the inside of KLF as well. It's all getting a little bit argy-bargy at the minute. A little bit messy from the GT4s, and probably because they're all fed up with doing the reverse grid all the time, and I don't blame them. Oh, as we see there, Dan Taylor and Andy have come together. Andy's waiting, but he's parked right in the middle of the track where cars are still coming through. And he's trying to wait for Dan Taylor to come through, but McGrone's in the middle of them. And again, Andy just... Oh, and McGrone's been tapped by Dan Taylor. Nowhere McGrone could go, really. And Andy didn't even give the position back to him in the end. So, a little bit messy there. Meanwhile, Will Friedman has caught Darren. They're now only 9/10, and Gary Leach in a solid P3 ahead of Matthew Duffin. Darren Bell in 5th, old Sim Racer in 6th, with KLF in 7th and Lucas in 8th. Sam is in 9th place with Rob Smith just behind him and Nuclear Waste in 11th and ahead of Diz at the minute. So, Alpine versus Porsche for the last win of the race. Yeah, I am trying to figure that out. I'm trying to get there. I'll commentate on both of you on a Wednesday, and I'm commentating on one of you on a Tuesday. It's not as easy as it looks. Meanwhile, Darren has already been passed by Will Friedman into the final sector. Darren really pushing it, and he's got a drive-through now for track limits here. So Will Friedman now up into first place, and Darren's given himself a drive-through. What's happened to KLF? He's dropped down the order. Nuclear Waste, Rob Smith and Sam have all got past him, and Lucas is with him as well, so possibly all dropped down the order. But Darren got himself a drive-through now. Gary Leach is probably in for a solid P2, and Matt's up to P3. So you'll work their way through the order. Dan Taylor just ahead of DJ Phil. DJ Phil's putting some pressure onto him as well, as McGrone's also trying to work his way back up the order after being tapped around. And just a little bit messy from these guys towards the end of this race. And I think frustration is probably kicked in at this stage. Fed up with constantly doing reverse grids, and like I said, I don't blame him whatsoever. Rob Smith, meanwhile, currently in 8th, just ahead of Nuclear Waste. KLF's gone very wide, and that's going to allow Lucas back through. And Diz, with the straight line advantage in that BMW, should outdrag that Ginetta, no problem. As they head to the kink, and through goes Diz. And Darren now straight into the pits to do his drive-through. And Lucas and KLF come together. Sorry, not Lucas and KLF. Lucas and Diz come together, which then holds up KLF. Diz gone wide. KLF on the outside. Clouden doesn't want to get involved. He just wants to pick up the points where he can. And Lucas drops behind KLF again. And he sends it on him up the inside. And that was a bit naughty from Lucas there. He just sent up the inside and forces KLF off wide. And Clouden goes through. Meanwhile, Darren's only now coming out of the pits. He's still on the pit limiter. Where has this put him down? All the way down to 10th place position. He's got going again. Is he going to be ahead of Diz? Just about. So just ahead of him is Nuclear Waste. So he's dropped down to a 9th place position. Meanwhile, Will Friedman way out in front in comfort zone. 2 race wins to his name already. Gary Leach in 2nd, Matthew Duffin in 3rd, Darren Bell in 4th, Old Sim Racer in 5th, Sam 6th, Robert Smith in 7th, Nuclear Waste in 8th, Who Darren in 9th, Diz in 10th, KLF in he's dropped further back. Lucas and KLF have come together again. Shane's now up the inside and gets the job done on Shane. So more damage to KLF's car. Andy also has dropped that. They're also starting to catch Shane and KLF as well. Like I said, drivers are starting to act a little bit too aggressive towards the end of this race. Darren Bell still ahead of Old Sim Racer. Probably your closest fight on the track at the minute is this squabble at the minute. KLF's dropped behind these cars of Andy and McGrone. Dan Taylor's right there as well. And KLF's just dropping further and further back. He's clearly got major damage to that Ginetta, and into the pits he comes. He's going to drop down the points. But Nuclear Waste caught onto the back of Rob Smith. Trying to not call him Robert Smith. That's what I'm trying my very best not to do. Who Darren is also caught onto the back of these guys as well. So hopefully Who Darren can start working his way back up the order a little bit. And there goes Rob Smith a little bit wide, and that's going to allow Nuclear Waste around the outside and swoop around through. Who Darren looking for an opportunity now on Rob Smith, looking for any opportunity he can. They all run wide a little bit. Rob Smith followed Nuclear Waste, and that's allowed Who Darren through. So he's got one FBR done of Diz. He's now on to the next one of Nuclear Waste. Into the final few minutes of this race, of tonight's race, and I think the GT4s will be happy to leave Mazzano. Who Darren up the inside of Nuclear Waste and gets the job done. Nuclear Waste drops down the order, and Who Darren goes through. Rob Smith there for a moment looked like he was going to have a go at Nuclear Waste himself, but wasn't quite close enough. He's right onto the rear wing of Nuclear Waste, but runs a little bit wide, and he can't keep doing that one too many times. A great little scrap here. Diz gets very close to the back of Rob Smith there. In an FBR sandwich at the minute. And trying everything they possibly can to find any mistake from any of the drivers. And there you go. Nuclear Waste made a mistake. And Cloud is in the background and more of this. Just watching, waiting for something to happen. And Clouden will gain some points out of this, as KLF was in the pits. He's repaired his car and got going again. But Rob Smith up the inside, or trying to get up the inside of Nuclear Waste. Can't get the job done. Rob Smith still there though, and Diz looking for an opportunity. That BMW strong in a straight line. And there we go, Nuclear Waste makes the mistake. He runs wide. He will have better momentum coming out of the corner, but the Alpine is in front. But Diz in a straight line advantage. BMW, they're going to go 3 wide. The BMW should have the advantage, and they all swap places. And Nuclear Waste goes wider than ever. And Diz benefits from that as Rob Smith drops down. Who Darren starting to try and catch Sam if he possibly can. Old Sim Racers drop off the back of Darren Bell. We've lost Gary Leach once again. Obviously, internet must have kicked out again. And Gary Leach once again on his way for a podium has lost out there. But Will Friedman, though, still leading away at the minute. He's got a healthy lead of 17.1 seconds ahead of Matthew Duffin. Darren Bell in that third place position. Volt Sim Racer still not letting him go, though. He's still thereabouts. Sam in 5th. Who Darren in 6th. Diz still in 7th, but he's got a pile of cars behind him as they all run wide. McGrone's now got past Shane. And that's also Andy there, Dan Taylor and Tipping all close together. And Shane looking for an opportunity to get past the Mercedes driver. McGrone actually pulling away from this group now as Andy looks to the outside of the hairpin. Shane holding the inside. Andy going to try and get the cut back if he possibly can. Leader is now on the final lap. That is Will Friedman. One lap to go. And this is the order. Darren Bell and Old Sim Racer was close. The gap has opened up again. Darren Bell just struggling towards the end of this race by the list of things. Meanwhile, Who Darren is not a million miles away from Sam, so it's going to be quite close to the end of this race. But we go back to this four-way fight between 3 Ginettas and an Alpine. And at the minute, Shane just ahead of this squabble of cars. Andy sitting in that 12th place position, waiting for a mistake, waiting for an opportunity if he possibly can. As they head towards turn number 1. Andy cutting a bit of track there just to get close to Shane as they go through that sector. Darren Bell still got Old Sim Racer right behind him, who Darren's catching Sam right at the very end there. But Shane still heavily defending from the 3 cars behind him. Porin is now dropped into this fight as well. So this fight, Porin very, very loose on the exit there. And nearly dropping the rear. Shane defending the inside. Dan to the outside. Andy in the middle and Tipping following. As they fight for these final few positions. Every point counts. And Andy seems to got the job done. He's around. Oh, sorry, I've missed Will Friedman. He's crossed the line and won the race. So he's won 2 races tonight. Sorry, Will. I've just missed you crossing the line. But Will wins the race. Too busy watching that fight. But Will gets the job done. Matthew Duffin coming home for a 2nd place as well to him, adding points to his name while his championship rival falls further back. But Matthew Duffin in 2nd. Darren Bell is going to finish in 3rd, but only just from Old Sim Racer. Sam is just going to hang off against Who Darren in 6th. Diz is going to finish in 7th. 8th is going to go away of Rob Smith. Nuclear Waste finishes in 9th. And 10th goes the way of McGrone, completing the top 10. Andy's going to hang in there right to the very end to 11th place position. Shane is going to finish in 12th. Dan Taylor drop behind Tipping and Porin in the end to 15th, and they finish 13th and 14th. And DJ Phil is going to finish in 16th, with Susie's Cream in 17th, Cloudin in 18th, KLF in a 19th place position. Rolo is going to finish 20th, Gary Leach in 21st, Lucas in 22nd, and 23rd is Star Dog as well. But it's Will Friedman who is your winner tonight. 2 race wins to his name. Matthew Duffin in 2nd and Darren Bell in 3rd. Currently got Matthew in here. Again, I've still not learned how to do a Discord. I will figure that out at some point. So apologies, Darren Bell. We'll try and get Will Friedman in here if he wants to chat. I just got to find Will Friedman's name. But nonetheless, Will Friedman takes the win, takes fastest lap, and he will probably feel great about that one. As I will try and get the replay saved once again so that stewards can have all the evidence they need. And while I'm doing that, we'll get the championship standings up as well.
Just finishing them.
But nonetheless, it's been a interesting night's worth of racing here at Misano. First and foremost, as a part of the admin team and everyone here at SimPlay, we do apologise to the drivers for the mistake of what happened this evening. We will get to the end of it and figure out what went wrong and go from there and figure out how we can resolve this. A ticket will be put in so that it won't happen again. Tomorrow night, the Pro-Ams return back on track for the next install of Misano Racing. And then the GT3 Pro Boys will be back on Thursday night. I believe Matthew has probably finished the standings.
Yeah, they're done.
Sadly, you guys will have to stare at my Lexus for 5 minutes. So Championship standings looks like this. Matthew Duffin leads the way, 95 points ahead of Skunky. In third now is Will Friedman. Third is Sam. Fifth is Deer. Sixth is Jamal Clouden. Seventh is McGrone. Eighth is Darren Bell. Ninth is Hugh Darren. 10th is Nuclear Waste tipping in 11th. 12th was Shane. 13th is Andy. 14th is KLF. 15th is Old Sim Racer. 16th is Rob Smith. 17th is Sky Schondermeyer. 18th is Susie's Cream. DJ Phil in 19th. 20th is Gary Leach. Lucas in 21st. Rolo 22nd. Dan Taylor 23rd. Pontin in 24th. John Andrews 25th. M. Collins in 26th. And Stardog 27th, and Richard Beasley back of the pack in 28th position. At the minute, we currently just have Matthew Duffin in the chat with us. 3 reverse grid races, Matt. You were pretty much starting at the back of all of them.
Yeah.
Kind of a night to forget for the admins because it was kind of a mess. But for yourself, it's you managed to get away with a lot of chaos this evening.
Played it safe. It's hard for the GT4s because they don't know what the ballast is going to do to the cars. You know, in practice throughout the week, obviously the lobby's set just for a practice lobby. The only ballast that's on the cars is GT3s with the BOP. So it's hard to put the ballast on the cars because drivers doing both formats. That's the first lap's done under 40 kilos, and you could feel the effect more in that third race than the first two. But yeah, kept out of chaos, and it was a good night, really. You know, championship rivals all got caught up. But with it being 3 races a night, there's so many points up for grabs. It's not like, you know, I could equally end up in a bad situation.
Yeah, obviously, like I said, with the way things have worked out, I think the admin will have to discuss what happened and what we go from here. Obviously, a lot of drivers will be frustrated and annoyed, and this wouldn't have normally happened. This is still new, this 3 races on one session. Anyway, we'll forget about that. We move to Kyle Army next, a night race, and again, more complications could fall in there. How are you think you're going to get on there?
Kyle Army's going to be hard for me. I think now I was hoping to lose a bit of weight tonight because I'm not a big Misano fan, and I think it was going to be a case of you know, try and lose some weight going into a track that I enjoy. So it's going to be difficult, I think, at Kyle Army. But look, we've got 40 kilos still. We're going to have to just deal with it and see what we can do. Night race as well, so that's going to add a bit in the mix. I think it's just going to be an interesting night, to be fair. I think others are going to... You're going to start to see others come strong in these next couple of races. I think the ballast is really going to hurt. Notice that the Merc seems to carry the weight a lot better than the Ginetta did last year, though.
Well, nonetheless, mate, congratulations on a good night's worth of racing.
And can I just point out, just say as well again what you've said. We apologise to all the drivers on the grid here. We're obviously going to look into this deeply and try and investigate what has happened with this. Obviously, the reverse grid should override when there's qualifying sessions on. So we do apologise for this. The drivers who did take pole kept the points for pole position, so Clouden and Friedman. But yeah, we'll look into this and we'll work on it.
Definitely indeed. But nonetheless, that is it from us here at Misano. We'll catch you in a week's time at Kyle Army for the next round of the GT4s. Yeah, apologies to all the drivers, but it was a dramatic race here at Misano. Pro-Am tomorrow night with myself and Matthew Duffin, and then we finish things off on Thursday night with Matthew and PN in the chat, bringing you the pro action. But it's been a bit chaotic, but we'll see if that chaos continues here at Misano tomorrow night for the Pro-Ams. Good night.